Okay, continuing with example 12. So I've drawn my x's. I know these are my x-intercepts. I know this is my y-intercept, this is my turning point, and my shape is going to be a happy face. Alright, now I must take note where I am actually cutting the x-axis. I'm cutting at -5 and 3, right? So there should be 1 point on the negative x side, and there should be 1 point on the positive x side. Okay, and where do I turn? I turn at -1, -16, which means both are in the negative region. That means my x value is also negative, my y value is also negative. So I must keep all this in mind before I sketch the curve. And I also know that my y-intercept is -15. So let's try to sketch. Alright, something like that. And now we can try to label whatever we need to label. So this is -5, this is 3. I mean, try to make it as proportionate as possible. Okay. This will be -1, -16, the turning point. And this is your y-intercept, -15. Okay. The y-intercept is different from the turning point, so please don't confuse yourself. And of course, the last thing is your line of symmetry. So draw a dotted line down, passing through the turning point. Line of symmetry is x equals to -1. Okay. This is the equation of the line of symmetry. So anyway, part 2 is asking you for equation of line of symmetry. You will just write x equals to -1. And you're done. Okay? So this is how a typical sketch question looks like. To summarize, find the shape, find the x-intercept, find the y-intercept, find the turning point, sketch your curve, and then fill in the dotted line of symmetry. And label it with the equation of the line of symmetry. That is the most complete. Alright, and don't forget to label your x's as well, y and x. Okay, very good. Let's go to the next question. Okay, example 13, sketch y equals to -x minus 3 times x plus 1. Okay, now let me try to expand this for you. Since there's a negative in front, right, it will become negative of x squared minus 3x plus x minus 3. Okay, which then becomes negative, where's my negative? Okay, negative of x squared minus 2x minus 3. Okay, so when I open up the bracket, it will become negative x squared plus 2x plus 3. Alright, we have a negative x squared over here, which means the coefficient of x squared is -1. That's A, right? A is negative, which means my shape will be a sad face. Whenever I'm negative, I'm sad. Alright. Okay, so number 1, the shape is settled. Okay, the shape is going to be a sad face. Number 2, we're going to find the x-intercepts. Okay, so I'm going to let this equation be equals to 0. Now, using the zero product rule, of course -1 cannot be 0, right? So we ignore the negative and we focus on the two brackets. So either x minus 3 is equals to 0 or x plus 1 equals to 0. X plus 1 equals to 0. So when I solve, I will get x equals to 3 or x equals to -1. Okay, these are my two x-intercepts. Okay, moving on to the y-intercept. Y-intercept is when x is 0. So I'm going to sub in x0, right? I will get 0 minus 3 times 0 plus 1. Okay, this will be -3 times 1, which is -3. But because of the -1 in front, this will be 3. So my y-intercept is 3. Alright. Now, coming to the turning point. Okay. Remember what I do? The x-coordinate of the turning point will be 3 plus -1 divided by 2, right? I take my two x-intercepts add together, divide by 2 to find the midpoint. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And hence, my y coordinate of the turning point, I will sub this x equals to 1 into the equation. I'll get 1 minus 3, 1 plus 1. So this is negative of negative 2 times 2. This is negative 4 with the negative in front. Negative of negative 4 is 4. So my turning point is basically 1, 4. Good. I have gotten my shape, my x-intercept, my y-intercept, my turning point. Am I ready to plot? Of course. Sorry, not plot, sketch. So this is my axis, y and x. Okay, and I realize my x-intercepts are at negative 1 and 3, right? So 1 on the left-hand side, 1 on the right-hand side. My turning point is 1, 4, which means both must be positive. I must turn somewhere over here. Okay. And of course, I must cut at y equals to 3 as well. So let's try to sketch. Alright, something like that. So this coordinate over here is negative 1. This is 3. These are the two x-intercepts. Okay. I'm sorry, this should not be so rough over here. It should be smooth. Okay. So try not to have hairy lines. The turning point over here is 1, 4. Remember to turn at the positive side because x is positive, y is positive. And of course, your y-intercept over here is 3. Okay. So write down the equation of the line of symmetry. We're already going to do that anyway. Equation of the line of symmetry here is x equals to 1. That's the line of symmetry, right? And find the coordinates of the maximum point. We already found that. So basically, from part 1, we already solved both part 2 and part 3. I don't know why they are asking this separately. Anyway, part 2 answer is x equals to 1. That's the equation of the line of symmetry. Part 3 answer is 1, 4. When they say coordinates, please write in brackets x coordinate, y coordinate. Okay, so that's the maximum point. Alright, I'm moving on to the next question. That's example 14. Sketch y equals to x squared minus 3x minus 4. Aha, now you realize that this equation, it is not in the factorized form. They give it to you in the ax squared plus bx plus c form, which is fine. We can always factorize it, no issues, right? The first thing you realize is this is x squared, right? It's not negative x squared, it is just x squared. So a is 1, right? When a is positive, your shape is a happy face. Okay, that's the first thing you realize. And I'm going to find the x-intercepts by subbing in y equals to 0. So x squared minus 3x minus 4 equals to 0. How to factorize? Use my cross method. Negative 3x, negative 4, x, 4, 1. So x here, negative 4x here. When I factorize it, I'll get x minus 4, x plus 1 equals to 0. So my two x-intercepts are x equals to 4 or x equals to negative 1. Okay, got the shape, got the x-intercepts. Now, what about the y-intercept? Okay, the y-intercept is when x is 0. So y equals to 0 square minus 3 times 0 minus 4. My y-intercept is negative 4. Okay, and I want to find the x-coordinate of the turning point. So 4 plus negative 1 divided by 2. Take the two x-intercepts, add together, divide by 2. 3 over 2 is 1.5. How do you find the y-coordinate of the turning point? You sub y equals to 1.5 square minus 3 times 1.5 minus 4. There's so many beautiful things you can do with the equation. Like solve, factorize, sub in. Now I need a calculator. Not so beautiful anymore. Minus 3 times 1.5 minus 4 See, the answer is negative 6.25. Okay, it's okay to have decimals, man. So the turning point is 1.5 comma negative 6.25. That's where I'm going to turn. And now I'm ready to sketch. Okay, so draw your axis, y, x. Alright, so I'm supposed to turn somewhere here. X is positive, but y is negative. And I will cut my x-axis at -1 and 4. So one on the left, one on the right. And I will also cut the y-axis at -4. So, visualize how you're going to sketch the curve, what's the position of the curve, and sketch. So you'll get something like that. Okay, I'm going to fill in the coordinates. So this is -1, this is 4, my two x-intercepts. My y-intercept is -4, my turning point is 1.5 comma negative 6.25, which makes sense, right? This is supposed to be the position of the turning point. And I'm going to write the equation of the line of symmetry. So my line of symmetry will pass through my turning point. The equation is x equals to 1.5. So that's also my answer for part 2. Part 2 answer is x equals to 1.5. That's the line of symmetry. Equation of the line of symmetry. Alright, let's move to this question that says, can you sketch y equals to x squared minus 2x plus 2? Okay. When they say, can you sketch? I will be like, of course I can. Okay, so let me just do the necessary. Number 1, I'm going to find the shape. Okay, the shape is going to be a happy face because this is just y equals to x squared, right? So the a is 1, which means my shape is upwards this way. And then I'm going to find the x-intercepts. So when I try to use the cross method, I'm going to equate this to 0 and use the cross method. And then I realize that if I have 2 and 1, oops, the cross method cannot work. Oh no! Then how? Never mind. Cannot factorize, never mind. I can still solve using my formula method. So I go and try the formula. A is 1, B is -2, and C is 2. And I'm going to use the formula that Miss Janani taught me. X equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all which is over 2a. Okay, let's try. So this becomes 2 plus minus -2 whole thing square is 4 minus 4 times 2 is 8 OMG divided by 2. Aha! I realize I cannot do this as well. Why? Because this part 4 minus 8 will give me a -4. How can I ever square root a -4? Cannot be done. So once again, even with the formula, I cannot solve for x. How now? Okay, so this is where we're going to learn something new. And for that, I'm going to open my Desmos. Okay, I have plotted the graph of y equals to x squared minus 2x plus 2. The graph that we were trying to plot just now, right? Trying to sketch just now. I've plotted that on Desmos and I realized this is how the graph looks like. There is a y-intercept here at 0, 2. Okay, at this point x is 0, right? So it makes sense that value of y is 2. That's my y-intercept. But what do I observe? I observe that this curve does not even cut the x-axis. That means there are no x-intercepts at all. Now when there are no x-intercepts, but there's a y-intercept and of course there's a turning point over here, 1, 1, I realized that, oh, I cannot use the method that I was previously using, where I find the two x-intercepts and I find the midpoint and I find the turning point. No, I cannot do that anymore. So for cases like this, we will try to express the equation in the completed square form and work from there.